most interesting things there are two, the cardiac test and the OBGYN.
Ultrasound is an incredibly powerful tool because it's portable, it's non-invasive, and you can really do a lot with very little. Ultrasound gel is not expensive, and so it makes it a usable technology as opposed to like a CAT scan or an MRI, which is extraordinarily expensive and hard to build. I'm Megan Bernstein, and this year I was the team leader for the Tanzania Ultrasound trip to Mwanza, where we lead a 4-week ultrasound course. One of the big things at UCI is ultrasound education and integrating that into the curriculum for medical students. So starting early, it's not additional training, it's something that we just do. We use it for teaching, which is incredibly important here because they don't have cadaver dissection the way we do in the United States. And so their ability to understand the body is kind of limited to the pictures and the lectures that they receive, but ultrasound kind of puts it into that visual 3D mode that we only get through anatomy.
I'm Janice Boughton. I'm an internal medicine doctor. I have been doing bedside ultrasound for a number of years and have become associated with the UC Irvine team that comes to Tanzania and teaches about 4 years ago when this project first started. The initial idea was Brad Jacobson's that since UC Irvine medical students after their first year knew a ton of ultrasound, that they should teach other medical students. There had been a strong tradition within UCI of students teaching students. So when they realized how much they knew, they wanted to share it.
Can everyone still hear me? Can most of you see me? Can you see me? Okay, that's sort of.
I've learned so many things, and it's so fun learning these things, seeing a human body, but using just a simple thing, an ultrasound machine.
There are so many stories in the developing world about how ultrasound changed things. One happened here in Tanzania while I was doing teaching rounds. Some of the students came to us and said, there's this woman who really needs an ultrasound. And so we moved to her bedside. And this is a young woman, probably about 22, who's lying in a bed, mostly covered with her shawl. And she's moaning slightly, and she's not answering questions, and she looks very sick. So we start to do an ultrasound, and we find that there's fluid in the belly, which we wouldn't expect. And the fluid, there's some characteristics of it that look like blood. And we look down into the pelvis, and we see a tiny fetus within a ruptured tube. So this woman had a ruptured ectopic pregnancy, which was in the process of trying to kill her. As soon as the ultrasound happened, she was in the operating room with a blood transfusion and surgery to cure the condition within an hour, and she lived.
The Tanzania trip has been partially funded by UCI. There was a 4-year grant that helped students travel abroad if they were working for 4 weeks on ultrasound. So in that way we funded part of our trip, mostly expenses in country.
My experience working with UCI students, I've been routinely extremely impressed with how hardworking they are and how courageous they are in trying new projects and persisting despite the crazy things that happen once you get to Africa.
Volunteer more in the coming years, so as many of us we can get these advantages I have.